Hello, everybody, and welcome to DraftKings. This is DraftKings, and it is the English Premier League Week 10. That's right, the Decima. We're there. This is one of our favourite moments of the week. This is where we talk about our chooser, our loser, and our gem. So I've got the panel here. Let's introduce them. Next to me is smiling Jamie Hinks from DraftKings. Over the way there, we've got Edo Del Monte. And next to him, we've got Andy Davis. Now, chooser, loser, and gem. This is where we peruse and take a look at all the players that are playing this weekend, and we try and advise you. That's right, the gamers, on who is a very, very good pick, who you should avoid, and who is someone that just operates under the radar that could win you big. So let's start with Edo Del Monte. I would like to hear your chooser, your loser, and your gem, Edo.
So straight out of Crystal Palace, my chooser is Christian Benteke, 7,600. I really love that price. I love what he's averaging, and I'm expecting a breakout game at some stage.
Brilliant.
And this Liverpool game could very well be it. So he's my chooser. My loser, and I hate to say this, Kevin De Bruyne of Manchester City. I have problems. You look at his DK scores of late, garbage. And yeah, that team has not been operating so well without Aguero. Even now that, you know, with him back and whatnot, you've got West Brom. And yeah, they'll concede, but that's the problem with City sometimes. You can get, there are so many players who can potentially score. If you pick the wrong one in that forward line, you will end up with nothing. And even if you don't get the assist, you know, often enough there'll be a penalty for Aguero, he'll take it, so he'll take all the points. And that's why I would just say, KDB, show me something. And I think that this team will recover, it will win, but it won't necessarily crush West Brom.
Okay, and your gem?
And my gem is Nordin Amrabat of Watford. I'm really impressed with this guy because, you know, young Dutch guy, I believe he got kicked out of the PSV academy, did well in Turkey, but was seen as a flashy winger. Here in the UK, he's doing all right. And Jamie mentioned this recently. This is something that Mazzari systems have always had, which is these wing-backs just tearing it down, you know, just tearing ass down the wings. And I think Amrabat has done really well to sort of convert himself into that kind of player because he used to be a flashy, sort of a bit cocky winger. Now he seems to do like sort of, well, you know, he does a lot. Wing-back is required to run a lot, defend a lot. So I think there'll be numbers all across the board, really. Tackles, interceptions, crosses, and hey, maybe even a goal. So he's my gem.
Excellent. Well, pay heed, everybody. Yeah, Edo believes that Arabas will be tearing us through whole City. Andy, over to you, my friend. Choose a loser, gem.
My chooser is Jose Holebas of Watford. They're playing Hull.
Yes.
He's averaging 10 points a game, 5.5 thousand, which is, you know, in James Milner terms, it's still quite cheap for a fullback. And yeah, I expect Watford to hammer Hull. I'm big on this Watford game this week. I've got Troy Dean in my lineup as well. We're not now. So yeah, Jose Holebas is my chooser. My loser, it's difficult because I feel like I may be tempting fate, but I am going for Riyad Mahrez of Leicester City. At home, he's fantastic. Away from home, he doesn't seem to want to show up. Can he turn it on a wet, windy afternoon in Tottenham?
And you know what, Andy, rarely playing more than 45 minutes in games before Champions League as well.
Indeed,
there is a pattern.
Indeed, there is a pattern. So, yeah, I hope I'm not tempting fate and he suddenly turns up and has that magnificent game against my beloved Spurs. But Riyad Mahrez is my loser. And my hidden gem, Tom Heaton.
Yes.
3.6 thousand. If you can find him, you go scroll right down the goalkeepers. I think he's even cheaper than Tottenham's third choice goalkeeper. Like Lopez, who's never played for Spurs. I think he's even cheaper than him. And he's averaging 10 points a game. He scored 17 points last week. He's going up in points and going down in value. And I do not trust Manchester United to hammer Burnley. I think he'll save a lot of shots, but I don't think he's going to concede a lot of goals. So, yeah, he's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You should almost be my chooser.
Yeah, it should be chooser and gem, and potentially loser if Man United do score 8 goals. We'll see. That'd be a first, wouldn't it? All three, everybody. Just avoid him, but pick him. Tom Heaton, can't argue with that. Great value. Finally, Jamie Hinks, educate us.
My chooser is Paul Pogba, prime time himself.
Prime time.
I get the feeling that he's going to have the game this weekend where he just
The breakthrough.
shows us why Man United paid £89 million for him. And I think it'll be this weekend. I think his stats are all suggesting that the goals and assists are on the way. It would only be a matter of time, in my opinion. And $7,000 seems very cheap when you think how expensive some players have been in recent weeks. I mean, I think De Bruyne's 8,800 and Edo's picked him as his loser.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show how much value I think you're getting here. My loser is Jamie Vardy. I can't get away from the fact that he's just been terrible this season. He's on 6.2 fantasy points per game this season across all competitions. He didn't even start against Palace. I mean, that kind of tells you where his stock's gone. And yeah, I don't. Well, I'm not confident he'll start, and if he does, just don't pick him. He's too expensive, 7,200. It's more than Pogba. It's almost more than Zlatan, and Zlatan's going to score 6 goals against Burnley.
We'll see.
So, and my hidden gem, actually, I went to the game that's early on Saturday because for some reason I've got a funny feeling Sunderland might get a point out of Arsenal. Just because I'm not big on how Arsenal have been playing the last couple of weeks, and that in mind, I think Duncan Watmore's going to be really cheap. And do you know what? I thought he's out on the wing. He might get a random goal. He won't really know how to celebrate it. But,
How much is Watmore?
he is. I haven't seen the salary of him yet, but I know he'll be cheap.
It'll be very cheap.
And I just
You really grabbed this one, haven't you?
Have you not seen the salary because you can't find him because he's too far there?
he's been. What
actually
they did is
isn't
they
a
were doing the
professional
list and they were doing it on paper and they chopped him off.
Oh, brilliant.
No, I think either him or Defoe could be a good pick this week because I think, they drew 0-0 with Borough, didn't play that well.
Arsenal, yeah.
They lost to, they didn't lose, they conceded twice against Swansea at home.
Drew with Burnley as well, didn't they? That was it.
They almost drew with Burnley.
Almost,
So, I mean,
yeah, they just
their
pulled that
form
one out
hasn't
late.
actually been as good as everyone thinks it has been the last few
No,
weeks.
they've had certain individuals playing quite well, Arsenal. But yeah, I wouldn't touch that one myself. I think they're going to
No, I know, but I think if you want a hidden gem with some ownership that's probably not going to be particularly high because people can't find him, then
he's your man.
go for
Then-
Heaton
then-
and the
then
Heaton
that's
Watmore
it.
stack.
There we are. So,
Where's Watmore?
Where's Watmore?
oh, brilliant. Well, you know what?
He would actually have a red and white
In his Sunderland stripes.
stripes
Where's
on.
Watmore?
So where is Watmore? He's down the bottom.
I'm going to pick him. No, I won't. But you could pick any of these suggestions. Very good choosers, very good losers, potentially. And some great gems there. What more? But you know what, everybody? It's entirely up to you. You know how the game is played by now, but if you don't, just download the app. Get it onto your phone, get it onto your tablet, get it onto your home computer. What you'll have is a $50,000 budget. You can pick any player that's playing over this weekend. Get your 8-man team together. You can go out there, go into the lobby, play your friends, play us, play the world. But you know what? It's not just fun. You can win big. Welcome to DraftKings, and welcome to the big time.